to Lady Boss Mamas. This is a YouTube series that Molly, Addison, and I created out of pure passion and desire to put together amazing women that are entrepreneurs and moms and share stories, because we didn't want anybody to be alone like we felt when we were going through it. And so I am Laura Katanen. I'm a lifestyle blogger, and I also have a sensory branding and marketing business. And with my husband and I, we live in West Hollywood, and we have a little 18-month-old, and his name is Aiden. And my co-host is Molly.
Hi everyone, I'm Molly Addis, and I own a clothing line for breastfeeding moms and a website called soulma.com. And my boys are a little older now. They are 7 and 8, Andrew and Bennett. And we're here today with Judith from Juniper Oats.
Yes, so my name is Judith, and I'm what I like to call a dual-preneur because I run 2 businesses, whilst Juniper Oats is my passion project and just kind of was born as a creative outlet. My actual job is being a web and branding designer. So under White Space Studio, we do help entrepreneurs and startups to find their perfect branding, positioning, and build them their most beautiful website.
Wonderful. So you have your business, like your day business, and then you have you say you're creative, but they're both really creative.
They're both creative, and it's kind of like now really both merging a lot, and things that are kind of like born out of ideas on one side really just, filter into the other. And that's become such a beautiful organic process for me that I realized the reason that I got stuck before in doing some client work on a daily basis was because I needed that creativity back, that just flow of it, where I don't have to just cram it in a deadline, or where I don't have to worry about what it is that the target audience needs. Just something where you truly just let your inner artist out and play.
And you mentioned that this sort of inspiration hit you when you were in Hawaii.
Yes, so my journey is a little crazy. I'm originally German, which is where this funny accent comes from. And I started right after university when I studied a really boring economy, sorry, that's very German of me. I studied business. And I went into that career path, and I was in a full-blown marketing corporate cubicle career, and I felt like a round peg trying to fit in a square hole. And I also started this whole journey in Dublin, of all places, because I thought I learned some English there. I learned a lot of things. English wasn't really one of them. But then it took me to London. Eventually, it took me to Italy. And this is when I actually, in 2011, just totally made the change. I took the plunge and decided I want to really do something creative. So I quit my corporate job and I moved to Italy. And then life just happened and it moved us to Hawaii. And now life happened again and we're actually currently in Las Vegas. So I am really trying to also embrace the lifestyle that I have, in terms of I wanted to be able to serve my clients no matter where I am, and also create something for myself that is not dependent on the location anymore. But Hawaii has been amazing, such an inspiring place, but it isn't just paradise and sunshine, of course. And so Juniper Oats is really trying to embrace the idea. Yes, the design started there, and some of that flair is definitely in some of them, little pineapple details here and there. And I just really wanted to create designs that make people feel happy, and that paradise is right then and there where they are, not necessarily just a spot on the beach.
How, what inspires that sort of design vision? Like, how did you realize one day, like, oh, I want to be more minimalistic, or,
It's a funny story, actually, because when I was in a lot of client meetings with White Space Studio, my business partner at some point pointed out to me that one of my buzzwords I use in a lot of these meetings is minimalist. We're going to do a minimalist approach, and minimalism this and minimalism that. And I'm like, I didn't even notice this. And even if you take our name, White Space Studio, it's all inspired, but I believe that good design is actually as little design as possible. And I just had that natural affinity towards those kind of aesthetics. But what I did lack or what I feel is lacking out there a little bit is often minimalism goes very extreme to a more masculine kind of touch, and can sometimes, particularly in interior design, which is another big passion of mine, can be a bit stark or feel a bit cold. And I wanted to really bring a little bit more femininity and playfulness back into it, which is why I guess this buzzword romantic minimalism was born, because I still wanted it to feel romantic and easy, but at the same time embrace that very minimalist look and feel.
What is, for anyone out there listening and needing to be inspired, what is one thing that you had to let go of in order for you to achieve more greatness in your business, especially in this world that you mentioned, another good word that I liked, dual-preneur, you know, so that's not an easy road to take. So tell us about what you had to let go of.
Right. I think, fear is, to me personally, a daily companion. And I'm a big fan of how Elizabeth Gilbert actually described it once. She's like, let's try to fight fear and see it as the big enemy. Let's try to kind of like, how can I work with it? How can I acknowledge it's there? It's just trying to protect me, but I'm not fighting a big bear. It's just for Instagram that I'm trying to fix. So how can I kind of just work with it rather than fighting it all the time? And I think that's what I'm trying to do. And with that said, I think one of my biggest issues I'm still struggling with is I'm a classic visual designer in the sense of we're stupid perfectionists. We're trying to have everything in place to the point where it's always perfect. And I don't just mean the visual aspect of it, but whether you have your newsletter already figured out and you're doing all your list building, and oh yes, you're doing Pinterest, and also your Instagram game is up top, and etc., etc. So it can be so intimidating and overwhelming that you end up frozen and you don't do any of those things. And how do you kind of like break that down? And I like to quote my fiance. He always tells me, how do you eat an elephant? And I'm like, I don't know, bit by bit by bit. And I think that's probably the best thing to do. If fear comes my way, and I do feel like perfectionism is trying to lock me down, I'm trying to remember today, focus on these and these bits. Do your best, then close the laptop in the evening, have a glass of wine, and try again tomorrow.
How does fear affect your ability to create?
The minute you are afraid of basically failing within your design, you are not going to get anywhere. And that's the other aspect about the fear and the perfectionism battling with each other, that as the perfectionist, you want to make 2 strokes and it's already amazing and the exact thing that you had in your head. Well, the reality is it's going to be a process, and where you try a few things, scrap them, and then start all over. And I think that's when fear sometimes really comes in and can knock you down, where you're like, okay, I sketched 15 logo ideas and none of them stick. What do? I'm obviously useless. I should start a new career path. I'm obviously useless. I should start a new career path. And working through that, and usually what helps at that point when it really gets you to really feeling strangled is that I notice, just step back, shut down the computer for that rest of that day, you know, take your dog for a walk, or just drive to a nice coffee shop, or I don't know, do something else that's not related to the topic. And as hard as that still is, I still have to push myself to do that. Usually it works. I usually get the inspiration then somewhere along the lines.
Tell us about what it's like being a mom and balancing your dual-preneur life.
I'm a stepmom.
Okay.
My fiance's son, he is 10 years old. He is he is very interested in becoming a programmer now, which is really fun for me to see, like how he's like taking some of those things. And I don't know why, but when I launched the Judith's website, he showed it everybody at school. He loved it, even though he's really not my target audience. He was obviously very proud. And I love sharing that creative side with him, because even though he's not necessarily interested in graphics or designing per se, I just love when he takes my iPad and just starts, you know, using some things, and I show him a few tips and tricks, and he just really enjoys that. And it just reminds me that I think no matter what age we are, and if we think we're good artists, or if we find ourselves to be creative or not, I think sometimes that's actually so much fun to just pick something up that you not usually do, just like he does, right? And he's like, you know, dabble with it for a little bit and see what it does, what it may spark. So that curiosity in him is something that I find very inspiring.
Did you have any fears with becoming a stepmom, or things that you had to let go of in terms of that? And how did that impact your relationship?
Oh, I mean, absolutely, naturally, yes. Because when I first met him, I was so worried. It's like, okay, so what if he doesn't like me? What if we're just not going to click? And how does that going to affect the whole kind of like bigger picture? And how can I make sure that, yes, I want to be happy, but how is he happy in this scenario? How is my fiance happy? How is even, the rest of the family tying into all of this? Let alone the fact that my family only speaks German, which makes this a little bit more complicated. But how do these things fit together, and how can you basically create a new family almost overnight from scratch? It can be very intimidating.
Wow. And what is one lesson or tip you would give to any other woman out there that's about to embark on this same journey?
What I was at least trying to do is I didn't want to come in and say, okay, I'm now mom number 2, which I'm not. I don't see me having any rights taking that over. I would have to earn that slowly. But just wanted to be his friend in the beginning, and just wanted to be there and show hey, here's another person that's there for you, that's routing for you. And if you need anything, just let me know. And I think my most amazing moment in this entire journey is we've been on vacation last year together in Australia, visiting family there. And at some point in one of our last dinners, towards the end of the vacation, he just tipped me on the shoulder. It's like, so how do you say mom in German? I'm like, you say mama. And he's like, okay, so that I can call my mom, and I'm going to call you mama. And it was just the most heart-melting moment I could have ever experienced. And yeah, I mean, falling into motherhood that way has been a really big challenge, but also such a gift. So yeah.
You just gave me the chills everywhere.
Yeah.
Really sweet. I want to go back to the idea of romantic minimalistic style. And if you had to describe the taste of that style, how would you describe it?
For instance, my favorite drink is a dirty martini, which is not really masculine because of the glass shape, but it's also not really feminine. And I mean, so yeah, to me, it's just that nothing is just black and white. And where is your perfect shade of gray in terms of your visual aesthetics and all your tastes, I guess.
And everybody, please follow Judith on Juniper Oats on Instagram, because it's amazing. I mean, it's so beautiful, and what you do with the layers and the squares is it's incredible. So I really appreciate it. And follow us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel, and we will talk to you soon.